Welcome to Brunswick Now on ATMC TV. I'm your host, Jim McCallum, and this month we'll have the opportunity to meet with the new principal of West Brunswick High School to see what he has in store for the coming school year. Then we'll speak with Cynthia Tart. She's the Executive Director of Communities and Schools for Brunswick County. She'll give us a little bit about the organization and tell us about the details of the annual gala coming up in October. And finally, we'll speak with Phil Sloat and Bill Bittenbender with the ABC POA about their Candidates Night, an event put on by their association every election year. Stay with us for the next half hour as we bring you Brunswick Now.
Welcome to Brunswick Now, ATMC TV, Channel 3, bringing you the best of Brunswick.
My guest today is Mr. Brock Ahrens. Mr. Ahrens is the new principal at West Brunswick High School. Mr. Ahrens, we're glad you're with us here today.
And thank you for that invitation to come on down today. I definitely appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, it's a great story that you and others have to tell about West Brunswick. And so I'll begin by asking a little bit about you.
Well, I'm originally from California. I moved my family, my wife and I, and our 4 kids. We moved out to Brunswick County about 7 years back. I was originally a teacher and administrator in California. I taught for 16 years in the area of health and physical education. I moved from there into middle school and elementary administration. We wanted to give our children some better opportunities. So we moved out towards the Brunswick County way. We actually moved out here, and I didn't have a job to start off with. So I was carrying my resume around. So I remember those days as first-year teachers carrying their resumes and trying to get a job. I came upon West Brunswick High School, and I dropped off a resume and met Jim Jordan there at the time, and he offered to invite me in for a teaching position there at the high school.
So this is your second stop at West Brunswick?
Correct, sir.
First as a teacher, and secondly now as the new and current principal.
Correct, sir. When I was there, I was there as a teacher in health and physical education for 1 semester. They quickly found out I had some administration background, and they moved me up to the front office. So I was doing the front office and administrative internship in the mornings, and then I would teach in the afternoon. And then I was given an AP ship for 4 years there, sir.
Tell us what's unique about West Brunswick. I mean, you've been at other schools in the county. Tell us what's unique about West Brunswick.
I think West Brunswick has a lot of history, a lot of tradition there. There's been a lot of great leaders, and they've not all been inside the administration office. We've had some great leaders on the athletic fields as well as the classrooms there. So I definitely wanted to come back to West Brunswick and be a part of that tradition and a part of that history there. And that was important to me.
Are there any particular programs or emphasis that you will place in your new position as administrator?
I think there's 3 points that really come to my mind when I step onto campus there. That number one, that it's a safe campus for students and staff.
Absolutely.
That they feel absolutely safe there. That our teachers are visible in those hallways and they understand the expectations not only with the students, but with the staff to help keep that school safe.
Excellent.
The second point there that I want to bring back to West Brunswick is a family cultural school there. It's important to me when kids come through the building that they feel great about being there at West. They feel they're going to be respected. They feel like there's a family sense atmosphere there, that they could go to anybody and ask them questions and get help. Because West Brunswick is definitely a family school and a big part of the community there. And part of that culture is, as a principal, is having an open door policy with people that come onto campus there, being able to give them time and meet with them and do a lot of listening. I think some of your best leaders do a lot more listening than talking, so I think that's important there.
Sure.
That third point would be classroom engagement. When the kids come into that classroom, that teachers are prepared to teach, and they do some backward planning. So when the kids come in, they engage the kids. But to engage today's kids, you have to touch on life skills and engage them on what they're interested in. So whether that's from skateboarding to basketball to football, whatever engages their mind, because they have to capture them before they're able to get into the actual teaching. And it's got to be a classroom of mutual respect, and I'm real big on that.
Your comments have prompted so many questions on my part. We'll do the best we can in the limited time. Let's talk about parental involvement, which is so important at your school and others.
Right. I've always been involved in my 4 kids' education, and I think for a child today to be successful, I think you have to not only have the child involved, you have to have their parents or guardians involved. And I think it's got to be, again, going back to mutual conversations with them, to have them involved in that process if they're going to be successful. At West Brunswick, we have a lot of kids coming from a lot of different places. They're not all starting at the same place.
Sure.
So I have to listen to see where that family's coming from and where that child is coming from. So we'll definitely have guest speakers for AVID. We'll definitely have communities and schools in our school. I've already spoken to them. Peer court and teen court. I think it's absolutely necessary for our students to be successful to have the community in our school.
Yeah. One of our local newspapers just this week alluded to the fact that countywide we have a higher graduation rate than we've had in recent years. And West Brunswick, I'm sure, is part of that.
Yes, sir. West Brunswick actually leads the three high school as far as the most growth. In the last 2 years, I believe that first year we were close to a 4% increase in graduation. This past year, it's been close between 5 and 6%. So we're close to a 10% increase in the last 2 years. And I think some of the things that the teachers and the administration and staff have done well is they've thought out of the normal box. And what do I mean by out of the box? Out of the normal traditional classroom, and providing kids alternative settings and alternative opportunities for growth.
Sure.
Again, you have to take kids at where they're at and not where we're at. So if that's putting them on some extra assignments on the computers for catch-up, some dual credit, but get them caught up to where they need to be. But we absolutely need to start at where they're at and not where we're at.
Sure. What's a typical day like for Mr. Brock Aarons, the principal?
Well, I like to get there early. I think when you lead a school or lead a business, I think you need to lead from out front. My goal is always to be the first one there. I just have that passion to be able to lead out front. I like to be out front in the front courtyard as kids are coming through the door. I like to start that school culture that I talked about, family, earlier, by saying good mornings to our kids. Now, I've done that as an elementary principal, and I've done that as a middle school principal, and now as a high school principal. I don't think those relationships stop. I think you have to let those kids know, hey, I'm glad that they're here this morning. I'm going to do the absolute best I can for them, but I want them to feel comfortable in our school. And it starts with a leader that's out there talking to kids, not sitting in an office. I think the visibility is so important.
In the business world, we call that managing by walking around. And I find that great principals adhere to that as well.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about academics.
Yes, sir.
We know that what gets measured gets accomplished or gets done. How do you measure student progress at West Brunswick or at any good school such as yours?
I think it starts with the administration and with the principal of what the expectations are for those rooms.
Sure.
I actually have a handout. I like to simplify things for our teachers. What do I expect to see when I walk through those classrooms? Students engaged, bell-to-bell instruction, that essential question being up on the board, that there's a format and there's a formula for success. I think it starts there first. Then it goes from the teachers getting out of periods of isolation, getting out of their classrooms and having the opportunities. I've set 2 times up, Tuesdays and Thursdays, during their lunchtime to sit down and eat lunch and have conversation about best strategies and best formative assessments. We're looking to not only do quizzes and tests, but our teachers will do teacher-driven formative assessments to document student data. Along with that, what we call PLCs, professional learning communities, that reflection sheet, and that pieces will be documented and kept in binders on teacher and student progress of how things are going. So I'm able to reflect on it, they're able to reflect if we need to make some changes.
We're almost out of time, but
yes, sir.
I don't want to conclude without giving you the opportunity to say a good word about your staff, because I know you have a terrific staff.
Yes, sir.
Please.
We have probably one of the most experienced staffs in Brunswick County. One of my benefits coming back to West after being gone for 2 years, I was there for 5 years, is I feel like I know them. There's a high level of trust there. They are professionals with a lot of experience. They will be treated in that manner.
Good. Mr. Brock Ahrens, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you.
My guest today is a very good friend of mine. She is Cynthia Tart. She is the founder and moving force behind Communities in Schools. Communities in Schools is a mouthful, so you'll hear me refer to CIS occasionally. That's of course the same organization. Cynthia, thank you for being with us today.
Good morning, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Tell us briefly about the history of CIS and what the general mission is of CIS.
Okay. The mission of CIS is to surround students with a community of support and helping empower them to achieve in life and graduate on time and reduce the dropout rate in our county and work in partnership with the schools. We are part of a national organization and a state organization. The national organization is celebrating its 35th year.
Wow.
This year.
You've already mentioned a program or two. Tell us the 3 or 4 or 5 most prominent programs of CIS.
We have five core programs.
Okay.
We have the after-school and summer programs that we serve students, and we have the Adopt-a-School and volunteer program.
Good.
And we have a parenting education program. We have a dropout prevention program, and hope I haven't left anything out. We have academic scholarships, and we have the Teen Court and Peer Court program.
Great. There's so much to talk about, but tell us about the Teen Court program.
Teen Court program is a partnership with the District Attorney's Office and John David, and we work closely with the Kiwanis and with the Rotary clubs in this area. They help provide funding and volunteers to make the partnership work. It's for first-time offenders. It's a phenomenal program for the county and for the students, and we operate Teen Court once a month at the courthouse, and we encourage anyone to come out and be involved.
Let's talk about volunteers.
Okay.
CIS has hundreds, literally 500 or 600 volunteers or more that are the heartbeat of the volunteer side of this organization. Tell our viewers what they can do if they want to be a volunteer or be involved in CIS.
Okay. Communities in Schools serves as the worker bees in the community.
It's a good term.
Because the teachers are inside teaching, and the principals are working their schools and handling administration, and Communities in Schools are the people outside in the community recruiting volunteers, trying to get them to the school's door. We do the official training for the schools, for the volunteers to go in and work with the students, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's serving as lunch buddies or whether it's serving as a speaker in the class or just helping the teacher or the school with a certain project.
So there's something for everyone if you want to be a volunteer.
There is.
And you can pick and choose
yes.
the strength that
yes.
most works for you.
Yes, and we encourage businesses and churches, communities of faith, and civic groups to adopt schools.
Great.
And help out each year.
Let's talk about funding.
Okay.
Where and how does CIS get its funding?
Okay, we get funding locally. It's basically through fundraising, a lot of fundraising. People will hear that CIS does a lot of fundraising, and we do because the demand for our programs is so high, and it's up to us to work in the community and raise money to fund the programs in the schools. And we write a lot of grants, so we've been successful in writing grants for 17 years. They come and go. They're usually 1 or 2 year terms, which causes us to continue to fundraise to provide funding for the programs after the funding source is gone. Yeah. We do get a little bit of money from the county commissioners and a little bit of money from the Board of Education through contracts and agreements for our services.
All very much appreciated. You've led me into my next question, and that is the fundraiser, which we call the Gala, yes. which occurs every October here in Brunswick County. It's one of the biggest and most enjoyable social events and fundraisers that we have in Brunswick County. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it's coming up October 18th. We encourage everybody that's listening to buy a ticket or serve as a sponsor or provide a silent auction item or a live auction item. Everybody can help in some way. Our focus this year is to raise funding for the Dropout Prevention Program, the Action for Success program that's in the 3 middle schools, in which a success coach works with the top 50 students that need additional resources that could possibly drop out of school if they don't have these additional resources. And so the gala's focus this year is to raise funding for that program specifically. And it's called the Taste of Brunswick County.
Right.
This year we have a different venue. It's going to be at the Cape Fear Jetport in the Southport Oak Island area. We're going to transform 2 hangars into this great gala event. And we usually have about 600 people that attend, and we're really looking forward to this year's Taste of Brunswick County.
It's one of the most enjoyable events of the year. 500 or 600 of our closest friends, and always room for more, right?
Always room for more.
You have a great board, a volunteer board that serves you so well. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I based the success of CIS through the 17 years that we've been here on our board members. We have highly professional board members that volunteer their time. 90% of them are working 40 to 60 hour jobs already, but they have committed to work with the schools and work with CIS to look at the graduation rate in our county and the dropout rate in our county. And while it's improving, there's still a lot of work to be done, and that can be done through CIS in working with the schools. And so our board members lead and guide us and look at the programs that we provide and give of their time and become advocates and help build relationships in the community for these students.
Great. There's a program called Action for Success. Tell us a little bit about it. It's in the middle schools.
It's in the 3 middle schools. We have a full-time success coach that we fundraise for, and that person is in Leland Middle School, Cedar Grove Middle, and Charlotte Middle. And they identify the top 50 students that need additional resources. It could be attendance problems, it could be behavior issues, it could be just they're needing a role model in that adult relationship with someone in the school. In partnership with the schools, we identify those students with the principal and the counselors, and then we just wrap services around those students to make sure they have the tutoring and the counseling and all that they need to feel good about themselves, to have a reason to be in school, to think about their future, to talk about their careers and get them to the next grade level and on to graduation. Great.
I want to talk a little bit about my personal experience with communities and schools. I was a board member with you for 6 years. It's one of the most rewarding of all the activities that I've been involved in. In the simplest of terms, communities and schools, overall mission is to keep kids in school, get them back up to grade level, and see them on to success. And that's essentially what CIS does. Am I right?
Right.
Cynthia, it's been a pleasure to have you. I thank you for those years on the board. Communities and schools contribute so greatly to our community, and it's a great story that you've told. And I thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
My guests today are Bill Bittenbender and Phil Sloat of the ABC POA. And I know you viewers will want to know more about ABC POA. They'll tell you about that in just a moment. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us today.
Our
Thanks
pleasure.
for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Bill, I want to turn to you first and talk a little bit about what ABC POA means and what its mission is.
Okay. The ABC POA is the Alliance of Brunswick County Property Owners Associations. It consists of 16 member organizations, POAs, and homeowners associations here in Brunswick County with about 14,000 property owners. So we represent a fairly large portion of the residents here in Brunswick County. We are now in our 12th year. We were formed initially to work on common issues with POAs and issues that involve both the county and state legislative bodies. We are quite active, for example, at the county level. We're one of the few organizations that track the county budgeting process.
Excellent.
We attend all of their budget sessions and have provided both written and verbal comments to both the commissioners and Ann Hardy, our finance director, and Marty Long, the county manager. We are involved in numerous activities in the area of planning and development. We follow what's happening in the with our planning department. We are involved in environmental issues. We have a group that works with the various organizations, the various POAs, to work on best management practices,
sure.
Things like water gardens and that type of thing. And we are really very, very active, and as we'll talk about in a few minutes, we've been very active on the political side as far as our candidates night. We are also active at the state level. I am a representative on the Legislative Action Committee of the Community Associations Institute. We interface with our elected representatives at the state level, comment on proposed legislation, the usual attend hearings, and discuss our position on various issues. We have found that being a large organization, people do listen to us, and that's
absolutely
the purpose. The last and probably a very important thing is that we serve as a sounding board for the various organizations here in Brunswick County, allowing POAs to discuss issues that are relevant to situations such as rules, regulations, that type of thing, how that gets set up. And we also encourage our POAs to use best management practices. We encourage openness in all of their dealings. We think that it ought to be a very transparent process.
Sure. Here's a question. I should have asked you this first, but for some of our viewers, they may not be familiar with what a POA is. Tell us in very simple terms what a property owners association is.
A property owners association is formed when a development is put together.
Right.
It is in effect, the governing body for the organization. For example, I live in St. James, and the POA down there, we maintain all the roads, we provide security, we maintain all of the common areas, and it does serve as the governing body, even though the entire POA is within the town of St. James.
Excellent.
So we do have the two organizations.
Now, I'm jumping around on you a little bit, but Phil, let's go to you. Let's talk about the Meet the Candidates night.
Okay.
I know a little bit about it, but tell us more.
Mm-hmm. The Meet the Candidates night is something that we do every other year with this a major election. This year, we're holding our event Wednesday, October 17th at 6 o'clock at the Odell Williamson Auditorium, which has been the venue that we've used for the last 4 sessions.
Admission's free.
Admission is free
to make
and
sure.
encouraged.
And encouraged.
Right.
We want to make sure.
Right.
Oh.
And this year we're very pleased to have the moderator is going to be John Evans, who is the news anchor for WECT TV and Fox.
He does a great job.
He certainly does,
Yeah.
and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We've had some excellent moderators in the past, and we think that John is going to do an outstanding
And you've had
job.
some great attendance in the past.
We had last year's event was attended by approximately 730 residents, and we had a very active session with Representative McIntyre and the challenger, Ilario Pantano.
Right.
And,
Now, because you do have a number of goals and issues, do you have subcommittees? Do you work through committees? How's your organization function?
We have a very active committee on the Meet the Candidates night, and also we have a number of co-sponsors and partners, ATMC being one of them, and we
Excellent.
thank you for the opportunity to get our message out. Also, Brunswick Community College, who's allowed us to use the Odell Williamson Auditorium for the venue. We are partnered up also with the Brunswick Chamber of Commerce, North Brunswick Chamber of Commerce, Southport Oak Island Chamber of Commerce, as well as our 2 local newspapers, the Brunswick Beacon and the Stateport Pilot. And it's a question and answer format, and those questions come from the residents from our POAs, and we also solicit from our co-sponsors and ask them to get questions to be submitted to the candidates.
Excellent. In terms of your membership, are you looking for additional members? How does one express an interest in the ABC POA?
Well, I'd be happy.
Go ahead.
I'd be happy
Sure.
to address that. Yes, we are always looking for new members. You can either contact us through our website, which is www.abcpoa.net.
.org.
.org, I'm sorry. That was close. You know, it has phone numbers for both myself and Phil, and as well as others. And we always welcome people to come attend one of our board meetings, see what goes on, see what we talk about. And, you know, we think that, you know, there is strength in numbers. There's no question about it. We think that we've made a positive contribution to all of the residents of Brunswick County.
Absolutely.
And even though we started out as really focused on POAs, a lot of what we get involved in really does involve other residents in the county.
And affect the quality of life.
And affects the
overall.
quality of life.
Yeah.
And you're probably aware, in the last couple of months, we had the issue about gambling sites
Right.
near certain.
Tell us more about that.
That really involved our friends down at Ocean Ridge, when there was a request to place a video gambling site, in effect, directly across from their
Right.
front gate. And so we did support them both at the planning board and at the commissioners meeting, and successfully opposed them being allowed to place, you know, that type of thing. We are not anti-business by any means, but we just think there are certain areas of the county where certain activities ought to take place.
Of course, sure.
And being that close to a residential area with a lot of children, something that we just didn't think was proper.
Well, we really appreciate your involvement. This is a mouthful. Tell me about the ABC POA Board Forum. Either one.
You want
sure.
me to talk to that?
You can talk to
Okay, okay. Last year we had our first annual, if you will, ABC POA Board Forum. It was a full day full of speakers and activities for our member boards. One of our member communities asked one of our board members, "What do you guys do?" We try to communicate to our communities on a regular basis what we're involved in and our ongoing activities. But we decided that what we do is we'd go ahead and share with our board members. And we invited all the boards. We had 65 people in the audience, and we had a number of speakers, including Senator Rabon, Representative Eiler, a representative from the Department of Transportation, a fellow who talked to coastal insurance issues, and a number of other topics that just was a full day of activity of the types of things that we have, you know, been involved in over the years. And I think it opened a lot of eyes that we were, you know, as involved as we were in some of the activities that we were, and in a good way.
Yeah. We're nearing the end of our interview. Both of you are volunteers.
Yes, sir.
I frequently say it's the big money and the short hours that cause us to be volunteers.
Retirement benefits are great.
Yeah.
Very good also. But we thank you for being with you. We thank, with our viewing audience, we thank you for being here today and for what you do for our community. Thanks again for being with us.
Well, we thank you for
Bill
the opportunity
Bittenbender
to talk to you.
and
Pleasure.
Phil Sloat.
Thank you,
Thanks
Jim.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this month on Brunswick Now. If you have more questions or you'd like more information about what you've seen on today's show, feel free to give us a call at 910-755-1770 or email us at atmctv@atmc.coop. Thanks again for joining us. Be sure to join us next month for Brunswick Now on ATMC TV.